Hello!
Hello AOS fans!
It's the Agents of Weird Hollow.
In this video we're going to give you 5 warbands to play with the new Paths of Prophecy Rivals deck. So new Rivals deck.
Yep.
Thank you to GW for sending us a copy of that. We've been playing with it. I've been playing with it, really enjoying it. I've played it with 3 different warbands, and I have built with several more, trying to work out what it's good with, and I really like it. I think of all the most recent Rivals decks, it's my favourite.
Yeah, there's a lot of them have had very specific niches to fill, but this one is going back to nice, good old basics of just get on them objectives.
Yeah. Void Curse grown on me, but I like this one. So which warband should you play with?
We're going to give you a top 5 rundown of our picks.
Number 1,
the Sepulchral Guard.
Now, I haven't actually played these because I thought I might leave it to Pete, or I might play it later. But I built a deck. Quite funny when we get these because we haven't got the cards on Underworld's DB, so you have to go looking at the cards and looking at the screen. But the Sepulchral Guard cards was the biggest list of compatible cards that you've seen on
good cards.
They had so many compatible cards that you could put in a deck with this. And of course, they have the Warden's ability to just keep on pushing.
Yeah. With the upgrade, he could be pushing 3 people. They could be moving potentially 3 or 4 hexes each in a turn. It's very hard to keep them off of objectives when they start doing that.
And then a lot of their new objectives from the new. So we're talking about the new upgraded Sepulchral Guard, in case that wasn't obvious.
Yes.
But they've got a lot of their new objectives are hold X and Y objectives.
Yeah, or stuff in the middle ground, and they also sync with the other the Paths of Prophecy ones, which is you score them after your opponent's turns. There's lots of synergy going on there.
So I think they're going to be strong. I think we're going to see a lot of those.
Number 2
is the Starblood Stalkers. Now, a bit of a caveat, we did mention that in our other video. I think the Paths of Prophecy is better as a Nemesis deck. So the Starblood Stalkers, for example, they have their own skink push, but it tends to be away from the opponent.
Yeah.
And Kixie Tacker can flip an objective, which can be useful. They don't have much tech to actually push stuff about, so you can find yourself a bit light when trying to get on objectives with the skinks. So, but with the Nemesis, they're really good because they've got some really good cards. They've got the one where you can teleport onto an objective, which is fabulous.
It's just I want to be on an objective. I want to be on that one.
Yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. And they've got quite a lot of push the skinks cards. I think up 2 hexes, and they've also their objectives dovetail really nicely because there's a few reasonably high objectives in the Paths of Prophecy deck, but they're quite hard to score, whereas the Stalkers have got some really great high scoring objectives that are quite easy.
There's that one which is basically score 6 objectives.
The ground plan,
the ground plan.
Because a lot of the prophecy cards are hybrid and dual because they've got quite a lot of combinations. They dovetail really nicely with the ground plan. So you can actually take the ground plan, which is 3 score 3 glory, and a card which is stand on all the objectives in a half. Bear in mind you can flip them with Kixie Tacker, which is 5 glory. So that's 8 glory and 2 cards before you even start. I have to say, in the Stalkers deck that I took, I didn't actually take both.
You have to hold all the objectives on the board though, don't you?
Not in a half.
So on the board.
Sorry, in a board. But yes, I didn't actually take it in the end because I decided it was just, if you had both in hand at once, it could just be a bit of a nightmare.
Horrific.
So I only took 1. But if you have got that potential, and that's only the beginning, actually it's probably the end because it's 8 glory, but they've got lots more other cards that score quite a lot of glory. So it's a really nice combo. Number 3
is the Gits. Good old Zarbag and his Gits.
Yeah, no, I haven't actually built a Gits deck because I thought it would fry my tiny brain. So I didn't try and do it because they got 9 fighters, and those squigs can probably get in the way a little bit because they can't hold objectives.
No.
So I was a bit worried about that. But I reckon, obviously, they've got their scurry mechanic, which is great.
Across the board.
For getting onto objectives, especially as there is a card in the Paths of Prophecy deck which gives you an extra move action. So in theory, you could
everywhere.
You can be chaining those off all over the place.
Despite the squigs not being able to hold objectives, they could run onto an objective. They could flip it, which would help you remove the number of objectives in play. They also have Infestation, which is the Gits one about holding all the objectives.
Yeah, and they've got their own sidestep as well. They've got their own faction sidestep.
Yes, it's
so
true.
they have got some shenanigans. I just haven't tried them out, but I reckon you're going to see them a lot because everybody loves an excuse to bring the Gits.
Yeah.
So I reckon we're going to see Gits.
And if objective 5's near the middle, slap Snurk on that one. No one's going for that one after that.
Yeah, Snurk's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't he? Because if you can get him on an objective, and then inspire him
and have him spinning away.
Yeah, then he's 3 dodge, difficult to shift. But if for some reason you end up not on the objective, he's difficult to actually use to get on there. But I guess you don't have to because you've got 9 other fighters.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to be strong. I haven't tried them yet, but they're going to be good.
Number 4.
Number 4 is the Grimwatch. Now, Pete, you'll remember a time when objective-based Grimwatch ruled the waves.
Yeah.
The grave, the beast grave, the beast grave. There was a time when they were incredibly oppressive. Yeah. They had there was temporary victory, which was 2 glory for standing on 3 objectives, and they had their own version of it as well, which they obviously still have. That's still a really good card for 2 glory. And then they had cards like Shifting Madness, which is standing on the objectives for
1, 2, or 3.
For the round number, and a couple of others, their own faction objective cards. And they could pile on the glory, and then you could put on some really nasty faction upgrades, or even the great strength and things, and then wreck face in the latter half of the game. And you could still kind of do that to an extent. They've still got some good faction upgrades. They've got the one where you can tear somebody's arm off and beat them with a wet end.
Just such a nasty upgrade.
Which is a horrible card. But then you can dovetail it with this selection of objectives now in the Piles of Prophecy, which score quite a lot of glory. Yeah. You've got a lot of push tech in there, because I think there's one for pushing all the ghouls. Yeah. And then
there's one for when you charge, the other people can run up to support and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. You've got the ghoul call, so if you do lose a fighter, you can use that. It's not completely accurate, but there's a reasonably good chance if there's an objective in the backfield and you could just bring a minion back,
maybe get them to shift across onto it with a ploy or something like that.
Yeah, so it's.
You've also got the bats, and whilst they can't hold objectives like the squigs, they can also flip objectives, which might be handy. They can just get into position to just help you support the rest of your fighters.
And you've got a reason to take that card, which turns it into an objective. Yeah. Because people might discount the bats. Yeah. And then you basically stick that card on them when they're sitting on an objective, and suddenly you're holding them all. But I had kind of forgotten about the flipping them. That was an oversight on my part. But the Grimwatch, I think, are very strong. I've only played them in 1 game, but I think that deck certainly somebody who can play it well.
It's horrible.
Could be pretty oppressive. So number 5,
we've got the Thorns. They've got a lot of movement shenanigans with Varklav. He can shift everyone. He can do it once a round now instead of every turn if he wants to.
Yeah, they're not as oppressive as they would have been once upon a time.
Yeah, but that still could be incredibly nasty to shove onto a lot of objectives without very much hassle whatsoever.
Exactly. They've got a lot of fighters, which is really good. I haven't played the Thorns, so I don't know how much. I had a quick look. They haven't got a lot of push tech.
Not a lot, but they have got some upgrades that enable you to move people. Instead of moving, they can jump across the board and stuff like that. And they have got some things where you can place fighters as well. So they also have all 2 dodge, much like the Gits when they inspire. So they suddenly become a lot harder to shift off of things as well.
Yeah, I think because there's a temptation, I think, to play any of those ghosty warbands, because Lady Harrows or even Dreepers, they've got potential. But I think the Thorns edge it for being the best.
They've got so many bodies, so many bodies. And if you do just concentrate on the ones trying to stand on objectives, then the likelihood is they're going to be leaving people like Varklav and the Queen to just go and wreck face.
She can do some damage.
The Thorns also have some cards like Claim the City, which enables you to score if you're holding all the objectives in a half, which dovetails with some of the other objectives.
It does, especially if you can flip stuff as well, so it's even easier to score these days. Yeah, one cheeky little extra. I haven't actually worked this out, but I was thinking about my Armies. My Armies deck that I had, the Fortress one, involved, because they've got Purifying Light or something, which is their own version of Temporary Victory. Yeah. And then there's objectives for standing on the leader standing on an objective, and Bahanar can't be pushed.
Yeah, and you've got lots of other things to give yourself guard tokens and things like that.
Yeah, the only problem is I've only got 4 fighters. That'd be the only,
that might be
only drawback to them, but my Armies might be a cheeky shout too.
And number 6,
this is a special bonus.
Woo! Don't play them with
the Exile Dead.
Yeah.
The Exile Dead is an obvious choice for this warband. They've got
fantastic movement.
Such great movement economy, action economy. They are so good. And you might even build a deck. It could be really powerful. You could be sitting, playing a game, scoring glory, literally printing it out on my little printer here, just printing out glory. And then you suddenly realise that sort of 5/7 of the warband are beasts.
Yeah, because they don't look like beasts.
No,
they're not. Most humanoid things don't get classed as beasts in the game. They're nearly always
dead.
Yeah, so it's like they're all beasts and they can't hold objectives.
I mean, the Grimwatch aren't beasts. I had to go and check afterwards that the Grimwatch weren't beasts. The Grimwatch aren't beasts, but the Exile Dead are. And I think obviously, the reason actually I thought about it afterwards, the reason they are beasts is because they would be
amazing
punishing for objective play.
Because it's like, I'm going to use Dane Talos and I'm going to move everybody and I'm holding 5 objectives. That's 5 glory, please.
Yeah. I mean, I did score a lot of glory. It was good fun, but
Yeah, but once you realise what was going on, I didn't feel quite so bad about how much I was losing by that stage.
So there you go. Top tip, don't play with the Exile Dead.
Don't cheat, boys and girls.
Is it cheating if you don't know you're doing it?
Well, let us know in the comments below what warbands you're looking forward to playing with the Paths of Prophecy.
Gits, everybody's going to put Gits.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to put Gits. And don't forget to like, subscribe and ring that bell as always.
And if you have enjoyed the content, please do consider us on Patreon. It gives you free access to our Discord, which is a very lovely community, which we love being part of. And we'll get you free entry into our forthcoming Agents Con. It's going to be in Market Harbour in September.
Yep, September 23rd and 24th. There will be a Nemesis tournament on. There'll be prizes and all that kind of good stuff.
All sorts of stuff. We've probably better organised something actually.
Yeah.
Right.
So we'll see you soon in the Weird Hollow. Bye!